Hello, welcome back to the Corporate Burnouts. Hey, Mandy, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Yeah. So, what has been going on? Tell us about your last few
Oh,
days as a plant
God.
mom.
Yeah, well, obviously, Mother's Day weekend. So that was fun. I was previously not a plant mom. Since I got off the road out of corporate life, I have dabbled in some plants here and there. I had some flowers last year that I thought that I just killed. Now, the more I'm learning, they're annuals. They're supposed to die and not come back.
Hmm.
To me, annuals would be like the ones that come back year after year after year. Nope, those are perennials. Learning. It's all
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And you were smothering some of the other ones, right? Like you didn't realize you were a helicopter mom.
like this is
The
years ago, but I
cactus.
had a
Yeah.
really great cactus. I mean, she was beautiful. And it was like a small pot of like a bunch of different little ones. And they had all the bright, really pretty blooms on it. And I decided to start with the cactus because I was like, I don't want anything I can kill. Cactus is really hard to kill. But I wanted to give it all the love and affection. And I would talk to it and water it every day. And you can't do that to a cactus. So I killed it. So that's how I started out this journey a few years back. But then over the last year and a half or so, I've kept some house plants alive. My mom always had ivy in the house and
Mhm.
house plants everywhere. And I just I thought it was pretty, but I'm like, I don't care about any of that, whatever.
Mhm.
But since losing her, for whatever reason, it makes you want to carry on some of those things. So I have
Yeah.
kept an ivy alive, two ivies. I have an aloe plant inside. I have a couple that my sister has given me that I do not know what they're called. They are not thriving.
Hmm.
They need a new home.
Yeah.
However, for Mother's Day this weekend, we really didn't have any plans. We were going to do dinner. Chase's mom came over and his brother and sister-in-law and the new baby. And then, of course, the girls came over. So I knew we were having dinner, but he woke me up and he was like, get up, let's get some coffee. We're going to get plants. And I was like, okay. So I don't know if this was like a procrastination thing where he didn't have anything planned. I didn't get you
He said,
flowers,
"This
so
will
let's
be a
go buy
good
you
gift." Yeah.
flowers. Or if that was his plan all along. I mean, we've gone plant shopping a
Hmm.
lot recently and not gotten
Hmm.
anything because we're trying to decide what we wanted. But we hit the mother load this weekend and I came home with 10 different plants, and then his mom gave me one for Mother's Day. So, of the ones that I already had, I have 11 new ones, and they're like, of course, all different. So now I have a spreadsheet of all the things, and I've spent the last couple of days trying to get them repotted and figure out where they need to go in the yard. And my hibiscus was beautiful, and today it's like sad looking. So I'm on ChatGPT, like taking pictures, like, what's wrong with my plant? And it's like, well, it got too much afternoon shade yesterday. You should probably move it. And I'm like, oh, well, great. So I do feel better that I'm starting my
It's a
plant
learning
mom
curve.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the age of AI, because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm
That
like,
makes it easier.
throw it in the trash.
I mean, that's what I've always done. I have never tried to revive something. Well, I had
Yeah.
some mums maybe that I did try and revive. Again, those don't, like no, not mums. There were some, I think Dan's mom gave me flowers for Mother's Day last year, and I didn't know that in the container that they came in that you needed to move them. I've
Yeah,
learned
to
that
repot them.
now. Yeah. And then I they were getting too much shade or too much sun. And so I would put them in the sun and they would be brand new. Right. But like
Yep.
I couldn't balance it. Like I did try on those.
Sam commented on my flower video and was like, are you just showing us all the plants that you're going to kill? And I was like, listen here. I experimented with humans first. I've kept 2 of them alive. I have 4
Yeah.
dogs that I've kept alive. I feel like it's safe to try my hand at 30 plants at the same time.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is that you had to learn how to keep those things alive and you just never
Yeah.
tried to keep plants alive, not like
Yeah.
actually doing the research and finding out. So I'm proud of you. You're going to be a good
New
plant mom.
obsession.
I left a ridiculous comment on that video too. So
Well,
go check
thank you.
that out.
Thank you for the engagement. I love that.
Of
Well, what
course.
about
Of
you? How was
course.
Mother's Day in bonus mom land?
It was good. Brody worked and the kids hung out with Anna and
Good.
I can't even
Yeah.
remember what I did. I didn't do much. It was a relaxing day. I liked it. I liked it. I was getting ready for a class. I did a how to start a podcast class this week.
Yeah.
And I, of course, waited until the very last minute to make that presentation because that was a brand new topic that we hadn't done a class on before. And I felt every second of that procrastination while I was doing it. I'm like, "Oh, I wish that I was done doing this." I wish that when I scheduled the class 3 months ago, that I had started working on that because a brand new topic, like it just there's a lot of things to think about. It was a really good class, but it was a little stressful leading up to it because I'm like, I don't even have a presentation. Like, I could
Right.
talk all day about starting a podcast, but when you're trying to give people the notes on exactly what to do to make sure that they're not part of the 90% of podcasts that don't get past 10 episodes, like
Yeah.
that's a real stat, and I'm like, "Okay, I need to make sure that they have the step by step, here's what you do before you get started.
Yeah.
Don't get started if you can't hit one of these steps because you will be the person who
Yeah, then you get
leaves your
behind the
podcast
whole thing.
very early. Yeah. So, anyway, I think it went really well, and I really enjoyed the people who showed up for the class.
I'm really glad that you are doing these classes. As you know, we learned on our own, like, let's just figure this out. I mean, I feel like we woke up one day after years of talking about doing a podcast and just said, fuck it,
Mhm.
let's go. And
Yeah.
it's cool to be able to take what you learned through your own research and
Mhm.
YouTube and all the things and be able to put that into a concise presentation to give other people the opportunity to start feeling a little more prepared and prepared for success versus
Mhm.
the fuck it method that we started
Right.
with.
Yeah, which I think that we did. We made plans. We had all of our branding done. We had the things that
Yeah.
the microphones and the things that we needed. We had 25 episodes planned out. We had, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think that we did a lot of things, but
But we did only what we knew to do, only what we could like
right.
figure
Mhm.
out on our own,
Think.
like, this
Mhm.
is what makes me feel comfortable in
Mhm.
pressing record.
I didn't think about that because everyone thinks about like how are you going to record it? What kind of equipment are you going to need? What's it going to be called? Like there's a lot
Yep.
of things that people think about, but there are things that you might not think about, and so that's why I want to do the class because it's fun. I could talk about podcasting all day because it's just such a fun passion project for us, but it's also become a service that we provide to help people start their podcast in the
Yeah.
right way and get the branding done and get the production, like what's the cadence going to be? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Because some people just sit down and talk to the camera and you could have something more exciting if you really think it through. So we help with all of that. And that's been a really fun service to add. So I like to tell people how to do it themselves, but if they're like, "And I don't think I ever want to edit it. I don't think I ever want to
Yeah.
make the social media clips," it's like, we can do that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I
good.
like that our passion project kind of feeds into our day job, which is
Yeah.
um a really smart move for us, but the
Mhm.
procrastination of it all. So how do you feel about it? Like in the 11th hour, you created a presentation and then you went and did it. You said the class went really well. Do you feel like the procrastination helped you or did it set you back?
So, I think that it's 50-50 on I think that I made the time. I spent an entire day on it, like it wasn't
Yeah.
the when you procrastinate something for 6 weeks and then you get it done in an hour situation. It wasn't like that, but that
That's my
happens.
style. Yeah.
Yes. But I think that I thought it all the way through and it was a good presentation. So I'm completely happy with it, but it does add that level of stress. So I hate that about myself that I procrastinate things like that just because it's new. And that's one of the main
Yeah.
reasons that I procrastinate is because I
Well, yeah, because
like
it's a
something I
little
do all the
scary.
time. It's easier.
Mhm.
But when I have to start something from absolute scratch, that's a little bit harder for me. And then I
Yeah,
procrastinate.
those things for me can go one way or the other. I can either be really inspired and have all the ideas coming and I need to get started, or I'm going to lose the mental momentum that I have going with it,
Mhm. Yeah.
or I'm really overwhelmed by it because I have the broad scope of what I want to do, but I don't really know the like until I get into it, I don't really know what this project's going to turn into. And that creates
Mhm.
overwhelm for me. And if I'm
Yeah.
overwhelmed by it before I get started, I don't want to start it. And the other thing that I've
Mhm.
learned about procrastination and my own habits is that
Mhm.
if there is something really big that I want or need to accomplish, if I'm going to have to do it in increments of time, That
Mhm.
really screws with me. I do not like to dive into a big project and then have to put it away, and then when I come back to it, be like, "Oh my god, where was I?" Like, I've lost the momentum, the train of
Yeah.
thought.
Mhm.
It makes it overwhelming.
Mhm.
So, I I like being able to dive into, like, the whys behind
Yeah.
why I am the way that I am, but I think more importantly, it's like, "How do I fix this? How do
Yeah.
we break this cycle of procrastination to cut out the anxiety of it?" Because the fact of the
Mhm.
matter is, once I start putting something off like that, I am not in it, but it's always going back here. So, you mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, like, putting off something for 3 weeks and then you can get it done in an hour. Why did I torture myself for 3 weeks with this item
Yeah.
on my to-do list that's still circling back here, torturing me when I could have just knocked it out?
Yeah. Well, and I think that when we think about that, like, how do we fix that? I think that you have to break it down into a couple of different things because sometimes it's because you are afraid to get it started because you don't have a vision of what it's going to look like, right? You don't
Mhm.
even know where the starting point is. So it's impossible to start. And so if that's the case, then we just need to like plan to just start it, right? Like you just
Just
have
start
to
it.
yeah, like the Mel Robbins thing, like the 1, 2, 3, go. Basically, you have to trick your mind into the you don't have a choice, right? Now's the time, not an hour before it's due. But I don't know. I just there are other situations where it's like it's just too big, right? It's not that you don't know where to start, you know exactly where to start. So like with a website, okay?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's hard to get started because you're like this is a week's worth of work, you know? So how do I get all that done in one sitting? And the answer is you don't. You
you
can't, you
don't.
know? Right.
And that
So
makes
you
me
have
mad.
to
I want to
I
start a
know.
task and be able to complete it.
Yes. Mhm. Yep. But how do you take that and say, I'm going to do this in several bite-sized pieces and actually plan it out then? Because something that you said hangs you up is that you don't know where you're at whenever you get back
Yep.
into it 2, 3 days later. And that is legit. You don't wanna spin your wheels because you're redoing something kind of that you already did,
Yeah.
and so that makes you go, "I'll wait until I have more time." But like we've talked about, like, just go in and do the site styles. Just let's get everything programmed in that needs to be in there, and then it feels a little bit better to start.
Yeah.
Or break it up and say, "Just site styles today." And if something happens and you're really inspired after you get their colors and fonts and, all the things in, then you keep going, right? But I think that if you can block it and say, "This is all I'm doing today," that usually takes 20 minutes. And then the next time I know that I'm digging straight into the homepage, or you're going to say, "I'm just going to do the contact page. That's the easiest page. We'll go ahead and knock that out." And then you're just doing one page at a time. So you know where you're at. I'm going to plan the time to do the entire contact page and then I'm going to go work on something else. So I know
Yeah.
where I'm at because I finished something, right? Not
Yes.
I decided to work on the homepage and that takes a couple days, so I don't know
Yeah.
where I was at. I don't know what my train of thought was, but you have to manipulate your own mind because
I
the
do.
procrastination runs us.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with it too because I'm an all or nothing person. I want to dig in and get a project done. And some of the things that we do, you just can't do that. You can't. And I put off video editing, and it's not because I don't enjoy it. I really like video editing, but it's like I have 6 hours of video to look at to get,
And
you know,
then determine how
3
you wanna
minutes. Yeah.
mesh it all together.
Yeah, and that is overwhelming. It just is.
Mhm.
If I go in and say, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to block out a few things, right? So I just did some videos for a hairdresser, the girl who does my extensions, and we recorded the entire process of her taking out someone's extensions, coloring her hair, putting them back in. I mean, putting the tape back on all of them, you know what I mean? Because she had to wash
Yeah.
them and do all the, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things to
The
do.
whole
And
process.
yes. And so that is hours worth of video. And we were making her 8 reels. And reels can't be more than 3 minutes. So they all had to fit into, like pieces
Yep.
of like a 8-part series. And I'm like, this is this is kind of hard, like
Yeah.
to get this all down. So, but I could, in that case, just be like, let's just the takeout process. That's one video. So then I outlined it and then it felt good. And I went in several different times and worked on just one video at a time, just taking this section. And so bite-sized pieces makes procrastination less for me to do that, because otherwise I just get mad that I can't finish something in one setting.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things there. Like, we just really greatly addressed the overwhelm aspect of things. The other
Mhm.
thing that I deal with a lot in this is the ADHD tendencies. Like, the distractions are wild. And it's not like
Mhm.
I am literally at home alone working, but there's
Mhm.
animals. And then there's the
Mhm.
mailman. And if I get a package, you bet your ass I'm getting up and I'm going to go open it. And whatever it is that I ordered, I'm going to try it on, or I'm going to play with it, or I'm going to. And then the next thing you
Mhm.
know, you sit back down and you get, 15, 20 minutes it takes to get back in the zone. And then the phone rings. And so the
Mhm.
ADHD of it all is very difficult for me. So I like to start projects like that when I know that I'm going to have uninterrupted time. I've gotten really
Mhm.
good at determining what exactly that looks like. I like to start in the morning with some of those things because I usually don't get a lot of phone calls before 10 a.m., except for you. So
Mhm.
if I
Yeah.
can start something in the morning and then in the evenings, things get wild. If Chase isn't home,
Mhm.
though, I can work on the computer late night and ain't nobody bothering me. You're not getting all the
Mhm.
same distractions. It doesn't always
Yeah.
work out that way, but I do know that I'm very productive at night. So trying to figure out when those things are going to be less
Mhm.
of a problem for me it's
Yeah,
a
but then
constant battle, but it works.
yeah, but why at 11 from 11 to 12:30 can you get so much done if you're on a deadline, right? And that is the
Mhm.
biggest problem for me with procrastination is if I if I'm on a deadline of any sort, I can focus completely. How do we trick our brain to do that? Right? And for
If
me, that's
we
time
figure that out,
blocking, but
that's
mhm,
yeah, that's the keys of the kingdom, right? Because I think what it boils down to is that it has to be an emergency to get my undivided attention. If
mhm,
I'm working on something and one of my kids calls, they're the priority. Like, I'm gonna stop
mhm.
what I'm doing, I'm gonna answer.
Yeah.
If there's something bright and shiny over here, in that moment, if what I'm working on isn't an actual emergency, I know that. So I'm gonna be like,
Mhm,
"This can wait a minute because I wanna do this over here." Like, it's
mhm,
about the emergency aspect of things. If I don't
mhm.
get this done by tomorrow and I have to stand in front of that room and teach an entire class and I'm not prepared, this is gonna be horrific. So
Yeah.
I have no choice but to knock it out right
Mhm.
now. So it changes
Yeah.
everything. I don't know
Well
how to fix that.
well, and you and I come at procrastination from different angles a little bit. You have
Uh-huh.
ADHD. I do not, but we still have the same problem. Okay. And we don't like the anxiety, right? It's not, some people crave that chaos, right? It's like, I don't
Yeah.
want anything to do with that, but I still can be more productive and less likely to get sidetracked if we're an hour out from
Yeah.
deadline. And I want to know how to make my brain say, I'm working on this today, 2 weeks before it's due. All right.
Yeah.
I still want to get it done in an hour, but my brain still let me have all day long to get it done. All right. And I took breaks and that makes me feel just like not like I'm working. It doesn't feel like pressure, right? I could have done it in an hour if it had started it the morning of, but
Yeah.
I wanted to get that off my list, off of my
Yeah.
anxiety, right? I don't know why it took me all day. I was like, I am ahead of the game. I still procrastinated and waited until the day before, but I could have got it done faster if I had the gun to my head. So
Mhm.
we have to figure this out. Like, we have to figure out how to still, with that pressure, right? Or without the pressure, get it done. Because in business, people love when you get stuff done early. Now, this was my own deadline for
Yeah.
myself, but there are things like we could have gotten a website done a week earlier if we would have pushed ourselves. Were they mad that it was done just on time? No.
No,
Could they have been
everything was
happier
great.
if if it was done a week earlier? Like, is that over delivering? Yeah. But would that be efficient? I don't know. Because literally, if you got it done a week early, it took you longer because you didn't have the gun to your head, you know?
Right,
Like,
exactly. Like, it
so
takes me longer to do it when I have too much time to do it. And,
yes.
again, we've covered a couple of reasons that people
Mhm,
procrastinate. I think there's way more to it though, right? Like we talked about
mhm,
ADHD, we talked about the overwhelm. Some people are just
mhm,
perfectionists, and if they haven't figured out how to get it right, or the fear of judgment if it's
mhm.
not gonna be
Yeah,
perfect, then I wanna put it off because I have this anxiety about this particular task. In the
yeah.
corporate world, though, I think a lot of people procrastinate because there's a lot of resentment towards the work, whether it's something that you don't have autonomy on. So your
Mhm,
creative brain isn't going, and you don't have that sense of pride in what you're creating or doing. You just have monotonous tasks. I can
mhm.
tell you that was me on expense reports.
Expense reports. Yeah, we've talked about this
I
a lot on the
hated it.
podcast. Expense reports.
So
You
easy,
hated them.
so
Yeah.
easy, not a big deal, but I had well, there was 2 things. Number 1, it was overwhelming because
Mhm,
anytime I have to go to multiple apps to get information, that becomes like I can't just sit and do it on my phone, or I can, but then I have to go into one app and then snap a picture and then to
mhm,
get bleh, like finding
mhm.
receipts and then looking at my
Yeah.
calendar. Where was I that day? Why did I actually spend that money? And
Mhm,
notating all of that stuff. Such a pain to me. But
mhm,
the reason it was such a pain to me is that the system didn't require all of those things in every instance, right? There were
mhm,
rules about what we did in our expense reports that felt unnecessary to me. So I resented the process. Therefore, I was like, this ain't an emergency for
mhm.
me. Never mind that it's my bill that's not getting paid. And
Yeah,
so it felt like,
but
well,
money that you were getting reimbursed, right? Like, so that made it so that it
yeah,
didn't feel like an emergency. If you had spent that money yourself, you would have been on top of it because you're like, I
it
gotta
would have been a
replenish this.
priority. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
that
want
might
my
be
expense check.
their bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that that resentment is a lot of where procrastination in the workplace comes from,
Mhm,
and sometimes it's coupled with boredom. Like
mhm.
if you're procrastinating tasks that do not light you up, that's a big red flag. You're probably not doing the right things. But there's also those monotonous tasks in every single role. You can't say, I don't want to work here because this thing that I have to do is boring. That's called being an adult.
Yeah, you're going to work, but if
Yeah.
you are a business owner, that's what I say is the main reason to hire somebody. The things that you put off because you do not enjoy doing them, you need to pay somebody to do that because you can get lit up about something else and make yourself money as opposed to sitting and doing well, you probably don't have to do an
Yep.
expense report, but you know what I mean? Like the things that maybe you hate invoicing, then a bookkeeper would be a really great thing for you. We
Right.
hear
Yeah.
all the time that people are like, I just hate doing social media. It's like, hire us to do it. We want to do it for people who hate social
Yeah.
media. Like, we love that because you have to do it. You know, you have to be on social media if you're a small business. And so in corporate, you have to do the things that you don't like to do and try and just get them done as fast as possible so you can go do something that you want to do. But as a small business, hire freaking people because it's
Get
if you
those
put
tasks
off
done.
something,
There are things you can
yeah, if you
delegate.
put off something that is really important to your business, if I put off sending invoices, I could maybe not send them until the 10th. And then when are we going to get freaking paid? You know, like
Right.
it has to get done. And luckily, I don't mind doing that. But if I hated it, I would for sure pay somebody to do that. And then I would spend my time doing something creative and
Yeah.
fun for me. So that's my tip on that. If you are coming from the I run my own business space, as soon as
Yeah.
there's something you don't like, that has to happen for your
If
business,
it can be
you know?
delegated and you can't stand to do it, here's your sign. Go hire somebody to
Yeah.
do it.
Hmm.
I think for
Yeah.
me, when it comes to the actual act of procrastinating and why I can do things so much better sometimes and
Hmm.
faster when I am under the gun, when I have procrastinated, when it is 10 o'clock the night before and I have an 8 a.m. presentation to do, it's dopamine. I mean,
Hmm.
there is some adrenaline pumping and I
Hmm.
can get right down to it, and then it's almost like a sense of pride. How long can I wait and still give my best work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
It's frustrating.
It is
Procrastination.
frustrating, but I think the brain perceiving that urgency, like creating the emergency behind it, and then the dopamine that flows into there and the adrenaline that comes in with that, it almost becomes a game, right? Like distractions disappear and all of a
Mhm.
sudden you have all of the energy in the world and everything's coming to you. Now, some people may not function well in procrastination like we do for whatever reason. We thrive in it, but I don't know
Yeah,
if
and then
that's the
they just
case
drown the whole time.
for
I guess
everyone.
we need to do some research. Please tell
I
us if
know.
procrastination doesn't work the same for you and you just like want to kill yourself the entire time that you're trying to hit a deadline. We would love to hear about
Yeah.
it because that's a little bit foreign. We both do our best work at the deadline, but yeah. What I want to know is if that is a thing, if people are like, no, I don't get things done faster at the end. I just spin my wheels more and wonder why I have this job.
Do you just fail then? Or do you become a person who doesn't procrastinate?
Yeah. Well, I think that we have to figure out how to trick our brain, like I said earlier, to do these things earlier. So, what we already talked about time blocking. That is really helpful for me to say, this is what I'm going to do at this time today. We learned about what's that book called? Eat That Frog, right? Do the big
Yeah.
thing first. It's
Mhm.
really rewarding to do that. And then there's other trains of thought to do all the small stuff so that you check more things off the list and whatever. But I wonder if there's some sort of a reward system that you can do with yourself or trick yourself by being like, I'm going to get this done today and we're going to time ourselves and see if we can get it done in, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, make it a
set
game.
yourself a competition or something.
Well, I think a couple of things that we need to avoid is like, don't just tell yourself, oh, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and do it. Like, if I were to do that, I would definitely fail because I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. and then going to do my best work on
Mhm,
anything that really requires creativity or thought or much mental space at
mhm,
all. I'm not going to be able to do that. But I think that we've accidentally trained ourselves to function well under procrastination, and it's
mhm,
something that you have to untrain yourself. So instead of saying, I'm going to finish my presentation today, the goal should be, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to start. I'm going to title the document. Once you do that, now you've started it. You've kind of tricked yourself into starting something when you were procrastinating for whatever reason. Maybe it was overwhelm or maybe it is the perfectionism. It doesn't matter. The goal today is just to start.
mhm,
Okay, I got it started. Then you started off with a win and you can go from
mhm,
there. And then reducing the emotional pressure of it all, like that is a
mhm,
huge thing when something feels insurmountable or really big or more than you can complete today. If you can
mhm.
identify those milestones of what you can hit, you're going to reduce the anxiety and the torture around putting off the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Bite-sized pieces. That is huge. That is huge.
Yeah.
And we haven't really talked about, we keep talking about it in, like getting it done right before the deadline, but we had to work hard to get our boss to always set a deadline on stuff because we were 5 procrastinators all on a team together.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, listen, we can't procrastinate this if we don't know when the due date is. It's literally just going to sit over here and nothing's going to happen until you're already frustrated that it's not done. So
Yeah.
set a due date. So that's another big tip that I have for people if you feel like you're procrastinating things and then they literally never get done because you procrastinated it and you just shoved it under a rug. Set deadlines for every single thing on your to-do list. Have a deadline. That also really helps me with not with procrastination specifically, but with being able to stop working every day at some point because I'm like, these are the things that have to get done today. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to get all of these things done. I can feel good about taking the rest of the evening. If I didn't do that, then I would be like, but this has to be done too. And it's like, no, that's not the important thing today. Like that can wait until tomorrow. So if you
Yeah.
put deadlines on every single thing that you do and then stick to them, the only problem is our
Yeah.
brain goes,
Because,
it's actually not
well,
due. They won't care for another week or so, you know?
for us though, hitting those deadlines, whether it's accountable to each other or to a client, by
Mhm,
promising to a client like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and schedule this call for next Friday at noon. Now, I
Mhm.
know not just that I have this fake deadline in my own head, I've actually told them when they can expect
Mhm.
something. And that really changed things for me too, because that created that emergency feeling for
Mhm.
me where it's like, okay, now I don't have a choice. Now this actually is a real priority. But you
Mhm.
brought up something just now that I think is really important. I think we have to take the shame out of that. If you operate well under procrastination and you can set deadlines that create that mental change or shift in you that makes you really productive, maybe that is a system in and of itself, right? And that doesn't
Mhm.
make you lazy. It doesn't make you broken. You're not failing. You just have to figure
Mhm.
out how you operate best and create that in a schedule and a system that actually works. I can tell you as a mom, Paisley is one of those people that when she has a lot going on, if there's a whole lot of things coming at her, she will have a full on complete meltdown until and she has to go through the entire meltdown
Mhm.
of the shame spiral and all of the, oh my God, I'm a failure and I'm never going to be able to get this done and whatever. And then once she gets all those emotions out, then it's like, okay, we're going to do this. And when this is done, we're going to do this. And I can help you with this.
Mhm.
And, we work out a plan and then she still gets it done. She's still
Mhm.
and I'm like, "You took an hour to actually melt down, to have a full-on
Mhm.
mental crisis that could have been used for all of this stuff." I don't know why that
Yeah,
works
and
for
then you
her,
could have gone to
but
bed at 2 a.m. instead of
yeah,
3 a.m.
we could have
Yeah.
probably woke up feeling a little more refreshed the next morning, but that's not how it
Mhm.
works.
Mm. Not
But
yet,
based
but it
on
could. Yeah, it could if
right.
she realizes that she just has to get it all written down and dumped out of her head, because
You
that's when I
just
feel the
have a
most out of
plan.
control. If I sometimes I'll get out of a meeting, like I'll have 3 meetings in a row or something, which I'm trying not to do to myself, but I'll have all those, I'll get out and I have 17 text messages and emails, and then I had stuff that I needed to do today, and these couple of things feel really time sensitive, and I'll start to feel out of control, right? And I'm like, why
Yeah.
did I wait? Why did I wait to get this done? I thought that I was going to have time, but then this emergency with a client came up, you know? So then I start to feel out of control. And the second that I get everything written down and I understand what I'm looking at, then I'm usually fine. Like
Then
I'll
you
knock
feel
out the
better.
thing that is the true, like I feel like someone's going to be pissed if I don't do this. I knock out that one thing and then everything else is so manageable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really freaking hard when your brain works like that.
Yeah, and I actually got this from Elise Myers. She did, I think it was a TikTok video or something, but her
Mhm.
big hang up is like waiting to feel motivated. So I
Mhm.
don't remember if it was writing a book or it was writing a song or something that she wanted to get accomplished. And
Mhm.
she basically was just like, I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm going to open up the page. And it's so overwhelming to look at a blank page and not know how to start. So she
Mhm.
would write it out. This is the first line of my book so that I'm not looking at a blank page. And like just having something on the page, then she could brain dump all the things, then start to organize it. And it's like literally just start. Don't wait to feel motivated because
Mhm.
that actually doesn't normally happen for people. Action creates the motivation
Yeah.
that can start to build momentum in what direction you're actually trying to go, right? But if you don't
Mhm.
actually start, you're never going to get that going. It's kind of like exercise, right?
Mhm.
If I don't feel like it, I'm not going to go. But if I don't go, I'm never going to feel like it. You have to just start. And then you're like, "Oh,
Yes.
well, now I have
Mhm.
energy."
Yep.
I should
It's
probably like
literally like
rewind that and tell myself that again so that I
yes.
will go work out later, but we'll see.
Yes. We'll need to motivate each other on that. But yeah, it's like a car, like you can make your car move without starting it, but if you start it, it moves a lot faster. Like it just does.
Yeah.
And
And easier.
and yes, so much easier. And actually, my car is so stupid. So it's one of those cars where you have to touch the gas pedal to make it, like if you just put it in reverse, like it's just going to
It
sit
just
there.
sits there. Yeah. You have
Yeah.
to actually push the gas pedal.
Yes. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, but that's an annoying thing about my car. We were leaving a concert a couple years ago and going down one of those ramps, that goes in a circle at the like a parking garage ramp. And I was just sitting on the ramp and then I would be able to move, a foot, and I would have to hit it and then slam on my brake so that I didn't hit the car in front of me because it wasn't just going to like roll down. Anyway, that's stupid, but that's a thing. So I love what you said. I would then say you have this to-do list. Hopefully everyone uses a to-do list of some sort to dump it out of your brain. That is the first
Yeah.
step. Get everything on paper that you need to do, because I think some of us procrastinate because we don't remember. Like, we didn't even know that we had to do that thing because someone told us and then it's gone.
Yeah,
And I'm
that
not
happens to
talking
me
about you.
every single day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you were
But
about to say, "I'm not calling you out," but
I'm not, well, you were
yes, you are.
looking like, are you talking about
Yeah.
me?
No, it was like,
No,
"No,
but that,
really, that's me." It resonated very deeply.
right. But it's me if I don't write it down. And that's why I'm serious
Mhm.
about writing every single thing down, because otherwise it will be gone. Like, my brain is not as sharp as it used to be. So I first write everything down, and then potentially I would time block it and get it into, time blocks for yourself so that you make yourself do it at noon. This is what I'm doing, regardless if it's what I feel like
Mhm.
doing. But then I would maybe, the things that are going to be hard for you to go on, go and start them. Just start them. Start the email,
Yep.
start the hard email that you have to write, and start the presentation and get your brand kit in. Like, just find the template that you're going to use, like, do
Yeah.
something, because, and I'm going to take this advice. Like, this week was frustrating to me, like, I was really pushing myself and I had a whole bunch of time that I could have done it before. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to start some new processes, because it's been overwhelming, It's
Yeah.
like, if I'm going to be overwhelmed anyway, why don't I just try and be overwhelmed in the direction, not the dead overwhelm, like the hour that Paisley loses to her freak out. It's like,
Yeah.
let's just set something in motion so that we can skip that overwhelm, go straight into the overwhelm that actually is making us money, you know?
Right.
Like,
Right. Well,
so
I
that's
am
what I'm going
also
to do.
starting a new process. I have coached and taught time blocking and time management for years, and I wholeheartedly believe in it. I have seen it work. I have put it to work and been successful. One of the reasons that I don't typically stick to time blocking is because sometimes it feels like a waste. Like, at the beginning of the week, I'm going to block out all of this time that I'm going to do all of these things. And when your time gets hijacked, because it often does, whether it's the mailman with a package that I want to open or like whatever it is, things do happen. And if I don't do what I said I'm going to do, then I feel like shit about myself for that, because I created a plan and then I didn't stick to it.
Mhm,
So then I feel better about myself if I just don't make a plan, which
mhm,
is stupid. But this week, I started my week. I created a secondary calendar within my calendar that I can look at or not look at, like turn on and off. And I time blocked all of the tasks that I brain dumped onto a piece of paper, all of the things that I know that I need to get accomplished this week. And
mhm,
then I allotted time during the week and actually put it on a calendar, not one that you can see, not one that, but it's one that I can turn on and off. And I gave myself more time than necessary for each one of those tasks, so that even though I did do other things, even though other things did distract me, I still got my entire list every day completed. I say that
mhm,
we're not through the entire week, but so far it's working. And all it really required was an hour of thought at the beginning of the week to get it all down. And there's still time left in the week. I didn't schedule every minute of every single day, so that as the week progressed, when things do get added to my plate, I can see whether or not I have time to add something to my plate or if I need to add this to next week's. And
mhm,
I'm feeling really good about it right now. So we'll have to check in next
mhm.
week and see if that completely got derailed or not. But so far,
Yeah.
I'm really loving it. And it's like, it's kind of an experiment. And I would say that if this is something that you're battling in procrastination or even just time management in general, like, just start it. Put it all on paper,
Yeah.
because once you get
Mhm,
everything on paper and you can move them around like puzzle pieces, that's another reason I like to do it on the calendar. Like, on a digital
mhm.
calendar where I can move things as though they're appointments, and
Yeah.
it's like a living, breathing document that changes as my week changes,
Mhm.
because change is inevitable. And then
Yeah.
based on what I had to rearrange this week, I'll schedule smarter next week and put tasks at actual times where I'm going to have time to do it, or I'm not going to have that distraction. And not every week has to look like the next. You should always learn from the previous week, what worked and what didn't, and then schedule smarter.
Yep. I love all that, especially for the bigger projects and especially for
Mhm.
things that don't have a deadline, right? Because otherwise they can get pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, like because more important stuff comes up and it's like, no, do not punish future you. Like, do a little bit at a time while you can, while you have the time. Because if you don't have something scheduled there, then you're going to give yourself permission to sit on the phone for 3 hours with the friend that calls. And, like,
Yep.
yes, those are all very important things to keep up friendships and all of that. But if you were on a deadline, you wouldn't do that. And you have something in that space from 1 to 3, you're working on this. So you have to get it done, right? Like that's something that you're doing.
Yeah.
So, and or you're like, okay, well, I'll take this time to talk on the phone with this friend that I haven't talked to in 2 months, and I will move that to later today, right? Like
Yep.
I
It
will
just means
use
that
my
it has to be
evening.
moved and yep, and you
Mhm.
have to give up
Yep.
other time. The task
Mhm.
doesn't go away. What I find really helpful about it, especially this week, is that I have a lot of tasks that need to be done. They don't have to be done at any particular day or time. And so if I don't have it organized like I did this week,
Mhm.
it's easy to push off. And then like my Thursday and Friday are like that's the 11th hour. That's when I'm like,
Mhm.
pumping things out.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a nightmare to be
Yep.
around because I'm like, don't talk to me. I have things to do. And it's like, you've had all week. You've been fucking off all week. What
Yeah.
gives? Why is it's suddenly an emergency? Well,
Mhm.
because I didn't do anything when I was supposed to be, when I had the freedom to just do whatever, whenever,
Mhm.
then sometimes if you don't have a plan, you're not going to do any of it. And so, what I like about having specific tasks for specific days and time blocking it, even if it moves, is like you said, I can give you this time. I can talk to you for the next hour, but I was supposed to be doing this. So now I know that instead of being done at work at 5 today, I'm going to be done at work at 6 because I still have this thing that
Mhm.
now has to go at the end of the day. So,
Yep.
like
Yep. And
today,
one
I
of the
have an
biggest
award
oh yeah.
ceremony to go to.
Yeah.
So, in doing that, I know that I'm going to work a little later this evening because an hour and a half of my mid afternoon is going to be hijacked by a child. That is
Mhm.
actually the priority. So, I have no guilt in doing it.
No. No, there's nothing wrong with it, but you do want to, let's just say that you had put some stuff off that was really important, right?
Hmm.
And now it's the 11th hour and you need to go to Paisley's award ceremony. Okay?
Now, I'm not even going to enjoy it.
No, because you are so stressed out and that is exactly like Peyton not cleaning her room and then wants to go hang out with a friend. And it's like, well, you can clean your room and then you can go do that. Hopefully, there's enough time for that. Don't put off
Yeah.
stuff that's going to make it so you can't do the things that you want to do or make those things miserable because now you're worried about something that didn't get
Yep.
done. And that's what I have to keep reminding myself is, yeah, I had a little bit of extra time in my Monday. Like I blocked off the whole thing to make sure that I could make all that happen for that presentation, but I used all of it. I used all of it. So if something fun had come up, I would have had to say no. And
And then that would
nothing
suck.
fun came up.
You'd be like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, I wish I wouldn't have given TikTok 3 hours of my morning."
Mhm. Yep. But I need to start probably so like when we go on our trips, I usually don't work past noon. And sometimes I do. Like if we're on the beach, I'll do social media on the beach, but for the most part like I have a cutoff time, so I get a lot done in the morning, and if I'm at
Because
home
you have a
with
deadline.
no meeting yeah, and so I have to be setting that for myself, and I do a lot better job in the summertime because so today I can't go on the boat because I have this podcast and then I have a coffee from 2 to 3, and that's absolutely fine. I have an appointment. It's not that I just didn't get my work done. It's like
Yeah.
I have something with people and that's okay. I can't go boating every day of my life. Like I'll live but I am better in the summer of trying to work hard in the mornings because I don't know. Every day, like we live in a lake community, you never know. Every single day someone could be like, "Do you want to go boating?" You know?
And you
So,
always wanna be able to say yes, because it sucks when you're like, "I
mhm.
actually really do. It's perfect weather outside, but I can't go
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
irresponsible in the AM." Like,
Yeah.
I wanna be
Mhm.
able to say yes. And I'm gonna be
Yes.
really disappointed, and I'm gonna feel bad because I have to say no to somebody else or I'm disappointing somebody else. It's not even just about what I wanted to do, it's about
Mhm.
having to tell somebody else no, like, that sucks.
Mhm.
And at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
I agree.
like, our goal is not to become like a productivity robot, right? Like it's not about perfection in your productivity. I just want to feel less stress and anxiety of the things that I'm putting off and
Mhm.
more of that. I want to feel more of that adrenaline that pumps out the really great productivity and the creativity when I am under the gun. How do I bottle that
Mhm.
and pull it out at 8 a.m. when I need to be starting
Yeah.
my day and not at 11 p.m. the night before or something big is going
Yeah.
on?
I think that you just have to think about taking care of future you. We do not do a very good job of that. Just in general
Mhm.
as people, we don't take care of future us very well. And just remember that when you're in the zone, be in the like get shit done. Don't be like, I'm in the zone and I worked for an hour and I got a whole bunch of stuff done. So now I can just be done. It's like, no, like when you're in the zone, get a bunch of stuff done so that you can get some of that procrastinated stuff off your plate and reward yourself being able to not work in the evening or miss out
Yeah,
on
or on the
something or be
weekends or
stressed. Yeah.
yep,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
take care of you.
I love it. We don't have all the answers. I will say we did give a few tips, but if there are listeners out there that have conquered the world of procrastination, please let us know your tips and tricks because we're definitely not perfect. Definitely
Yeah,
not there
you're
yet.
a unicorn if you have I don't know a single person who has conquered procrastination because I think that there's a chance that it is just innately in you, right? If you do that or if you don't, you're
Mhm.
one person or you're the other. But if you have conquered it, we have to know about it. Like you could
Yeah.
sell these secrets, but also we want to know the people who are still procrastinators at heart but have figured out systems. We need to know them because people deserve to know and we want to know for ourselves mostly.
Yeah, we've got a great start, but if there's something that's going to make this easier and more enjoyable, that is what
Mhm.
I'm looking for.
Mhm. I love
Well,
it. I
Mandy,
love it.
I'm so sorry that you're not going to get to go on the boat today, but I hope that you have a great evening nonetheless.
Yes, it'll be great. It'll be great. If you guys have secrets, tell us your secrets. We really want to hear them. Go to
I
thecorporateburnouts.com
know.
and hit the secrets tab. We want to read your secrets on here. They're completely anonymous. And maybe you don't have a secret, tell your friend because they have a big secret to send it to us. And it doesn't have to be a recent secret. You can talk about something that happened in 2001. We don't care. We just want to tell your corporate secrets.
Yeah, and I also want to say when it comes to these secrets, I think that the word secret in and of itself may be a little misleading here. Like, just want to hear the things that you don't say out loud. I want to hear the things that you don't necessarily want to put your name on, right? Whether it's
Mhm.
about a situation that happened or something about work, like just spill your guts. We want to hear all your stuff. There's not a
Yeah.
right or wrong answer.
No, not at all. All right. Thank you for talking to me, Mandy. We'll see you
Yes,
all soon.
ma'am. Have a great day. Bye, y'all.
Bye.